Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra's Lair. I am your host, Larry the Chupacabra, and today we're going to be going over how to create a YouTube video index in this next installment of YouTube creator tutorials. So we're going to talk about the designs, why the elements are there, and different sort of more notoriable YouTubers and other stuff I pulled off my recommendeds page earlier, and also talking about this template and how I put it together for you guys and why, along with places to get music, because music's important for your outro, especially music that you enjoy and you feel is important and pertinent to your brand sort of image on YouTube, because that's one of the things that will set you apart from the wolf pack. And so the first thing we're going to do is take a look at some screenshots I pulled from YouTube earlier. Whoopsie daisy, I murdered the name on this one, but basically this is the end index from Mr. C. Nanners. He does a lot of crazy Gary's Mod stuff. And he has just two random videos up here as sort of like highlighted spotlight videos. He's got a link to the video where he talks about the game he made for his subscribers that you can play and jank around with him and his pals. He's got a Twitter and a Facebook button that don't actually link anywhere, and the reason for that is YouTube's very protective over what sort of links you can and cannot put inside of your video annotations, and this is important for a couple of reasons. It's mostly just to prevent people from scamming you by linking you to some, website full of spyware or whatever. So most of these are internal links only, with the exception of linking to a Google Plus profile or going to, like, say, a Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign page. And then, of course, he has a subscribe link, because clearly, if you've made it to the end of the video, you enjoy what you're seeing and perhaps you'd like to see more, and the easiest way to do so is to hit the subscribe button. And then next, we have his buddy Sark, same sort of thing. He's got some various fun text saying hello to everybody, thanks for watching, telling them that he's got a Twitch profile, a Twitter profile, and a Facebook profile that have links in the description of the video, and then two random videos that sort of relate to the video. This is one from the order back when I was sort of getting ready to do a review for that. They just link another trailer for it, and some links to go to other places to find out more information. This is just a guy that was recommended to me today. I have no idea what he does, but he just has a link that goes to some random video. It's just a message from him of his face from his webcam, and then he's got the subscribe button and then his social information with his little branded icon of his face. Then we've got Zero Punctuation. He just has two related videos and a subscribe button. It's really not that complicated to make. Game Grumps doesn't even do those things. They just have the next and last episodes in a series. Sometimes if they have a one-off special, they'll put links in the bottom corners of the screen. And I mean, it's really just whatever you feel you're comfortable with. A lot of people, like Total Biscuit here, don't even put a video index at the end of most of their videos. They don't feel it's important, and it's completely up to you. So why, in that case, why would you want it? And well, a video index page really tells people that you have a professional product, and it sort of gives you this melange of better quality that maybe some random 12-year-old playing Minecraft is unable to attain for more reasons than he just has a crappy microphone. And so you can see that there's a pretty distinct pattern here. The whole idea behind a video index page is to encourage people to subscribe and maybe to direct their traffic and their clicks to some more videos, to another website, to check out something else that you're working on, maybe your Instagram profile, and that's about it. And obviously some of these guys have actually got more options because they are a business and they can actually link externally to other places, I believe. But, I mean, you just really want them to be clicking your subscribe button and touching your other stuff. And so, to that effect, we'll talk a little bit about where to get music before we jump in and start doing stuff with the actual tutorial. Alrighty, so, for my creative purposes, I like to find music on Newgrounds. It's where I've always sort of found open source music in order to, spice up my videos for the longest time, unless it's, of course, it's like a big corporate project like the couple of music videos that I've been a part of, in which case I'll go to other places and pick up a relatively inexpensive licensed music for outros and intros, but for the most part, Newgrounds has got everything you might be interested in. They've got easy listening, and that's like ambient music and classical and jazz and solo instrumental, and they got electronic. Oh, that's where the ambient. They had chipstep, dance, drum and bass, hip hop, metal, rock, other southern flavor, and then some voice acting if you want to spice up your videos with some weird clips. And so most of these are Creative Commons, which is to say that as long as you give them credit in your video, linking back to either this song page or to the artist's profile, they will be more than happy with you doing the stuff. And I have a login here on Newgrounds. I actually have a new one for my Larry Chupacabra personality. I like to send these guys a message when I use their music regularly, like in the case of my Navanax Slug-Salt song that I use for my own outro. I just think that's a good idea. It lets them know that you really appreciate their work, and most of them don't mind. They're just like, sweet, someone's using my music, because most of these guys are just doing this as a hobby. They don't really care. Do be careful, though, because I have heard that some of these websites, some of these authors go from being Creative Commons to actually selling their work, and you'll run into some problems, and sometimes it's just bogus copyright claims. So just be careful with that. I can't say yay or nay. I've not experienced that personally. Another great place is called Incompetech. They have a lot of great Creative Commons music. They have a different scheme of how they want you to give credit to their artists and to ones that you use. So always be sure you check how they prefer you do that on every one of these sites. And then we have the Sound FX guy. This is a guy I found randomly when looking for sound effects. He does a lot of great stuff. He even teaches you how to use a lot of them. So check this out. These links will be in the description. And then last, we have the Free Music Archive, one that I found recently thanks to my friends over at Two Scoops Games. And they put a song in here for their game Scurry. It's great. There's a lot of great resources on here. Not just anybody can get in here. It's actually kind of a catered group of people. And they have another very specific way they prefer for you to give credit to the artist, so make sure that you check on that. I won't tell you exactly how, because you need to learn how to find that information out so you don't get in trouble, and it's good enough time now to learn rather than later. And so the last tool then is, where are we going to get our icons for use in our index page? And the place that I really like is Font Awesome. These are icons that are actually built into a font. I use them when I'm developing WordPress themes. You can use them as the actual just font yourself in creative projects. It's a really great thing to do. And they have this whole host of icons that can scale infinitely. They're vector, and vector just means that the computer is using math to make sure that it doesn't pixelate when you make it ginormous. And so you just download the font, and then you use it in your, Photoshop, and then you can just copy and paste directly off of this cheat sheet. So let's jump in here and take a look. So we're going to be recreating this lovely template that you saw here on the homepage. I have a couple different versions that I'll put out there for you. Basically, we want a nice little window for our featured video here that you can just dump something in, and this is transparent, so you just put this in your video editor, tuck your video behind it, and then there's your featured video. And then it's got a place for you to annotate for your subscribe link, and then the name of your video, or just a little bounding box that you can give news for your channel. And this is actually sort of derived from my work designing apps for different companies. So that's what it's inspired by, sort of like the card UI layouts that you'll see in a lot of Android apps. And we're just going to remake that. So here we are. We've got this lovely little computer screen that I've made for another mock-up project that I reuse periodically. And all we're going to do is we just cut a hole out of it when everything's said and done, and you can just tuck your video back here. So here we've got our monitor, and we need to kind of play around and create a name placard so that people can know who we are, what we do, and the fact that we have social media links, because that's super important these days. And so we're going to start with the card. And the card is simply, we just have a boring old wait, what did I just do? Whoopsie. No, that's not what I wanted. Get out of here. Get out. Okay, here's the base. Basically, all we do is we take a white card, make it the size and roughly the width of this monitor, place it over here. Then we take another black rectangle, make it about half the size of this. Then we select it and paste in our lovely Twitter background that I put together as a part of my channel branding, and then we just paste it inside of that block so that we can actually move it around if we want to without it escaping the bounds of its confinement. And that will be the base for our profile card. And so once we've done that, we will go into here, and we want to sort of show people who we are. And what I like to do is I like to just take a circle. You can just take a sphere over here out of the ellipse tool and make a circle and then paste your icon inside of it. And then after that, you duplicate the circle that you pasted it into, and then you just make it black, and then you fade it so that it's just this little frosted, semi-transparent circle that adds this like little backdrop you might find on, say, a phone app. And then you duplicate it twice, once over here and once over here, in order to create your icons. But for our iconography, we're actually going to go back and use Font Awesome, because Font Awesome has all of the social media icons that you could want. You can even get them in a square if you'd like. And let's just do that. Grab it in a square, we hit the T for text tool, we select the Font Awesome font, and then that will allow us to paste from our cheat sheet on the web this lovely Twitter icon. Isn't that nice? We want it to have a little bit of nesting, so there's nice amount of border between yourself and the edges of your little circle. And you know, you don't even need these. You could put something else here. You could put white text. You could put a picture of your buddy that you do related works with, like little smaller icons of your co-hosts so that people can check out their channels. And so also make sure to rename these layers that these are sitting on, because the system doesn't know how to write icons in the labels for the layers. And I have a tendency when I make templates like this for myself to forget about what the layers are and come back to it months or maybe a year later and completely forget. And it just takes so much time to figure out what you did before if you don't remember. So it just saves you some time. So we'll say Twitter icon. Yes. And we'll put that just above the Twitter box. And then we'll make the other one Google Plus. And let's see here. Google. Here's the Google icon. Here's the Google Plus regular icon. And here's the one in the square. But I use Twitter in a square, so we'll change things up, but first I want to change the font color to a nice red, something lighter like that. And then we'll paste the Google Plus, and then we'll just resize it so that it's nice and big and fits snugly inside the sphere. Unfortunately, we can't just select the sphere it's sitting on and center it because it's an unusual sized icon. So we're just going to have to eyeball it and say about meow. And that's my favorite measuring unit, is about meow. Okay, so we have our social icons. They're sitting on these lovely frosted circles. They look all suave and snazzy. And so now we need to make the button. So we'll make another folder here under the name placard folder called button. Actually, we got to put you in the folder first. I'm going to call you the subscribe bouton rouge. And button, you know, they're not hard to make. We'll just zero out the size of our workspace and go to the tools that make the shapes, and we'll grab the rounded rectangle tool. The rounded corners, I like a radius of about 15 pixels. This is the setting that you want to play with if you want to change the roundiness of the round. And then we want them to be pretty big and thick and all that stuff, and make the jokes that you need to make. Oh, and that's actually below the card base. We need to bring that up. And it's a kind of off red because we didn't change that. So we're actually going to delete that and remake it. I want like a dark blue, maybe a purpley color. And you just want the button to kind of match your colors for like your brand. So maybe pick a color from your icon if you had a nice custom icon made, or maybe the background, because this is basically the background I use for my banner art for my channel. So maybe we'll grab like a deep bluish purple right there, and then I kind of want to bring it up just a little bit into the purple range, just a touch, just a teensy weensy touch, and go okay. We'll grab our shape tool here, and we'll make the button. make it pretty long and pretty tall, so that we have plenty of room to play around with an icon and some snazzy text. And we'll just eyeball that roughly and center it. It doesn't need to be perfect. If you have a design philanthropist touching your channel, maybe they'll get mad that you don't have a perfect pixel button, but if they do, I feel like you have other problems. And so now we just make a copy of it, and we take the bottom copy, and we open up using Control-U or Command-U, and we just darken it about 22, whatever you feel like, and we bring it down, and we'll actually make that just a teeny, tiny bit darker. I'm sorry, I had to recenter it because I derped out and hit the swizzled it to the side a little too much. So we'll just darken that so it's noticeably darker. That way it kind of looks like a pseudo 3D button. And then if we're super concerned, we can merge them and play with the coloring a little bit to make sure the hue is something we like. So this could be something like, this is more like the background. This is more like the green from my icon. We could even make it like, I don't know, like a full-on purple. And you know, that doesn't look too bad, like a dark purpley color. And so now we need to make a font. And so previously in my thumbnails tutorial, I told you guys about a couple of fonts that I recommend. I'm actually going to include a big old list of fonts that you might like from dafont.com. They are my favorites from that website, and they're great for multiple purposes. Just remember to keep it legible and readable, because the worst thing to have is a font that no one can read, and people hate that. They hate it. But the first thing we want to do before we put in any type of fancy text is we want to go back to Font Awesome and go, oh look, there's a gamepad controller. And I presume some of you are gamers. If not, you might want to pick a different icon. There's a whole host of them. There's a car, there's chain link breaking, there's a bit bucket for Bitcoin. The sky is the limit. You can even go out into the woods of the internet and find a free font pack, not a font pack, but an icon pack, and use an icon from there. It's completely up to you. But we're going to grab the gamepad, and we're going to go back to Font Awesome, and we're going to be like, I would like that gamepad, and we need to make it white before we get too far ahead of ourselves. And we'll just tilt it, because we're internet hipsters a little bit. We're prudish when it comes to our icon usage, and having a flat, sideways icon is just the boringest thing we ever did see. So now we have a cool icon. Actually, just make that a teeny tiny bit smaller so that it nestles kind of centered in the button. And then we need a font. So Mac has this font book that lets us preview stuff. And I got this null-like font that I was playing around with. That might be nice. That's pretty readable. I don't like the S, though. Oh, man, I got a bunch of these. On-ramp is what I use for my personal brandage. It's from losttype.com. We've got some other themed stuff in here. This thing's crazy. This would be like if you wanted to make like a retro type of a video thumbnail. You know what? That null free was pretty good. Let's play with that. Come, Mr. Null. Null free. Okay. We want to say flippin' Myriad Pro being all spicy. Give me null. Give me the null that I love. Okay, I need the subscribe. Subscribe to me, you delicious people. And unfortunately, this one has like a really lame exclamation mark. I don't know if you can see that, but it's pencil thin and lame. Lame! If you want to use that, I would recommend using a exclamation mark from a different font. I don't remember where I got this one, so if you like it, I'm sorry. You'll just have to look up the null free font. And look, we have a subscribe. We need to label this gamepad icon. And we'll just grab these two layers, and we'll try to center the whole kit and caboodle so that it looks pretty good. Yeah, I like that. That looks pretty good. And so on the template, I kind of put some text above here. If you want to make a message or kind of put your name up here, like Django Mr. Fett. I don't know, Luke Skyballer from that frickin' Zack and Miri Make a Porno movie. It's hilarious. So now we have this button, and we're actually going to bump the whole sucker down a little bit and try to center it just a tad more so that there's a little bit nicer margin between the button and our face and the button and the bottom of the card. I'm not going to stick any font here in this little demo. That'll be up to you if you want to stick it there. I'll leave it in the full prototype, and I'll put all 3 of these versions that I put together while attempting to record this, in case you want to play around with them and see what I've done. But now we have this card, and the only thing left is we need a video title for our lovely showcased video here. And right now it's just a screenshot from the Destiny beta. But we'll just jump down here, and I have created this little layer called the video title, and that's just a rounded rectangle and a triangle that I made, and I roughly centered it so that the triangle points to more or less the middle of the screen base. And it's going to be how we tell people what this video is about, and we're going to be like the bestest. And you know, I would say keep the font the same as whatever you have in your subscribe button. This is a little on the illegible side for anything that isn't like a simple one word. So keep it something blocky and simple, like on-ramp, blocky, simple. This is blocky and simple. And that means sans serif. There's not little fleurs on the letters. And this is an example of a serif. There's these little floopy accents on all the major letters. Try to stick away from those. They're kind of hard to read. This is another example. This is a serif. So we'll probably go with Duke isn't too bad. Droid Sans is not too bad when you're doing mock-ups. Collator. Code Bold. That looks good. Code Bold. Code Bold. Give it to me. There we are. We'll just say the bestest. Oh, this needs to be black too. Don't forget to make sure the color is correct or it won't flip and see it. The best... actually, that's not even that thick. Let's go with Liberator. Maybe that'll look pretty good. And so we'll say... Greatest Minecraft montage. And then we'll grab it, move it in here, and then we want to make this as big as we can without clipping over the top and bottom of the box, so it's very legible. And then this way, if you leave this as an editable font file and you save this as a PSD, you can quickly jump in here and edit just this text, and then you have the easiest to use index of your magical little life. And so this is going to go up in the description for download, along with the other 2 PSDs. I'm going to leave the font layers alone. Do note that you'll not be able to edit them with that particular font that I'm using right now, unless you 2 have it. So I will gather that list of fonts for you. I will put like a text file in the download links so that you can download it and read or click the links to all the thingies and grab them up for yourself. If you have questions about anything that I've done here, feel free to leave me a comment. I love to help you guys out. It's always interesting to see what sort of issues you guys run into. And if you have a suggestion or you have a question about some other sort of aspect of creating videos on YouTube, and you would think it would make a great tutorial, or you're just curious about it and need help, let me know. I can't always figure out the bestest way to make different tutorials for you guys if I don't know what you need to learn or want to learn. So do let me know. But yeah. Oh, you know what I bet we could do before we move on? Let's jump into YouTube and let's actually link some annotations. So the first thing you want to do is get into the annotation section of your video and go find your way to the end where your video index starts. This is just the one for the Galactic Rush review I did recently. And alright, so once we get to this end area, I'm actually going to delete these old annotations, because I'll just remake them because I have them stored in a text document. So we just find our way to the end here, and underneath Add Annotation, we just say, I would love a spotlight. And so the spotlight allows you to just take a square section of your video and turn it into a link. Notes and speech bubbles are like, they're like little things that you can write in, like, hello everyone. hello everyone, and then that can be a link or something. And if you want to say link people to another video you said is coming up, but you didn't have a sample to put in one of these little holes to sort of like link to them to that next video later, you can even just plunk in an annotation that says, hey, the next video tutorial is over here. But I don't always like doing that. People like the Rad Brad use those way too much, or they used to. But we just want a spotlight, so we just dump it around our subscribe link and move it. You'll notice there's this white business around here that's an actual stroke on the box. I don't like those, so if you don't like them either, you can go to this little paint bucket and go down to this little red slash through a white square. It'll make it transparent so that it doesn't show up and that's just clickable. It can be useful if it's not apparent what's clickable on the screen or what's not. If you just have a bunch of pictures of maybe like a bunch of people that helped you with a video and you wanted to link to their profiles after they got them created, then certainly use it, but I don't always find it useful. So we'll turn that off, and then down here we'll zoom in, and we want to pull this slider back to this little white line because this is where we are in the video and we don't want the link to appear before this line because then it's going to clip over onto footage of our video and that won't make any sense to people. This way it only appears when the video index appears. And then we just click link. And for my purposes, I like to use the old-fashioned way of linking people to you so they can subscribe. And this just takes them to your YouTube page and then a box pops up and encourages them to subscribe. It's just youtube.com/user/your name. !sub_confirmation=1. And I'll flop that up onto the page right now so you can take a look because that doesn't always make sense when you say the words. That's the old-fashioned way. You can also just type in your name, or in my case, Larry Chupacabra. And then they can subscribe. What? Why are you being so spicy with me? Larry Chupacabra. Maybe I have to capitalize? Chupacabra. Well, either way, I prefer doing this because that doesn't always work correctly. I don't know why, but in theory you should just be able to select this subscribe from the pull down and then just type in your name. And then we'll just click save if it doesn't automatically save for you. Make sure that this is always clicked because YouTube can bug out if you leave this window open for a while and then you'll lose all your blinks when you hit publish. It's kind of annoying. But otherwise, now that we've hit publish and all the links are added, it is now clickable and it is up on the interwebs for everyone to enjoy. I have been your host, Larry the Chupacabra. If this helped you out or if you enjoyed this tutorial, by all means, throw me a like, maybe consider subscribing because we've got more of these coming. Both of those things help me out tremendously. I'm also going to throw in something else special in the description. I have a couple friends that do commission work very inexpensively for artwork that you can use in your banner or in the background of your video indexes. Give them a shout. They can even probably help you out with your branded icon. And you can even give me a shout if you want to commission anything. Otherwise, I will catch you next time. We've got more great tutorials coming, including how to build a banner, how to build some iconography for your YouTube, and that's the form of like little avatars for you to use for yourself and for your co-hosts. And until then, toodaloo.